Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to City Skylines 2 and welcome back to Columbia County. I hope you're having a good one because I am so excited to be back, although I'm a little bit stressed, and I'm going to tell you why. As I'm recording this, an update for City Skylines 2 has gone out that broke a whole bunch of mods. Now, you might be wondering, well, why is that stressful? You're here, you're playing it. It's stressful because I'm in the middle of pre-recording 2 weeks worth of episodes because I'm going on vacation on the 28th of August. October, same thing, 28th of this month. So I'm a wee bit stressed, okay, but it'll be fine. Let's just jump right in. There's not really been any changes this time around. Let's jump in. Let's get started. I've got some ideas for what we're going to do today. So I've let the game run for a little bit, which means we have some money. We're also making $12,000 per hour. And so what I'm going to do is go back in here and I'm going to lower the taxes down to 10% across the board for pretty much everybody. I think we can afford to get away with this. It has admittedly cut my income nearly in half, but I think this is going to be good because my Sims have been complaining a little bit about high taxes, which they're not doing anymore. And the reason I care about that is because I've gone around a lot of these houses and everyone's wealth is basically wretched. And I don't feel good about that. I don't feel happy about that. I mean, some of these people are doing all right. I mean, you, for example, your neighbors are wretched, but you specifically, this right here, the Richardson family, they're doing all right. Isn't Adam Richardson, is that an actor? Or am I thinking of someone else? Who plays you know what? It doesn't matter. I don't think, is it Adam? It's Adam Richman. Wait, no, Reacher is played by Alan Richson, and Adam Richman is the Man vs. Food guy. Okay, I was way off. Anyway, in the spirit of looking after my Sims and making them a little bit happier, what I'd like to do today is look into this unreliable mail service. And the reason it's unreliable is because it's non-existent, basically. We don't have a mail service in Columbia County right now. So I want to do something about that. And doing something about that's going to be slightly tricky because one of the mods that's not working is the zoning toolkit. So I'm going to have zoning in pretty much every road that I build today and adjacent roads as well, which is why I've gone through and changed some of these guys into highway sections so that we're not dealing with zoning on those roads. But I was thinking we have this little triangle here with this newly added road across the bottom. Why don't I have this be a little mail service center? That seems like a solid idea. Now, if I wanted the larger post office, it's going to be $250,000, which we can almost afford. I just don't know that we need it. We have this little small one as well, which I think is pretty solid. But I think what we can do, at least to get started, is just go around and add some mailboxes to different spots in the city. And we can have this overlay just to see how efficient these things are. And they have pretty good range. So I think what I'll do is I'll just plop one right down in kind of the middle of this neighborhood to kind of cover that entire thing. And then I'll plop one down sort of over maybe there to cover that space. We'll get one sort of down here to kind of cover that space. We'll get one in here to cover that space as well. And that's most of the housing covered. We could probably use one up here as well. That seems like a pretty solid idea. So we'll go for right there for a mailbox. And the only spot that's kind of suffering, I mean, up here, I suppose, could use one as well. I could put it on the alleyway. I'm not necessarily against doing that. It doesn't seem like the worst idea. Oh, wait, no, I can't put it in there. Okay, can I turn on anarchy and put it in there? Apparently I can. Okay, I don't know if this will actually work, but that's what I'm going to go for. And I think that covers just about everything that needs covered. I don't know if these businesses need covered. I don't know if industry needs covered. So maybe, I don't know, little mailbox out here and maybe a little mailbox right in the middle of this space as well. And so everyone has coverage with a mailbox relatively nearby. And so the question I have now, has that done anything for the unreliable mail service? I'm going to say no, because they probably do want the post office. And I think just for the sake of, well, detailing, I think this is what I'm going to go for. I think we go for the larger post office here. And so what I think we'll do is place it, I'm going to say here. It's a lot of money, but I think right there is a pretty good spot. It's also expandable with a mail storage extension, and it also has a post van garage as well. And I think both of these can be kind of fun to play with just a little bit. I don't know necessarily where I'm going to put them. But I do like this little building. I like the look of it. I think it's pretty cool. It could be interesting to sort of put it down here on the road, or alternatively, we do just use the old system of attaching them to the building itself and then put some trees and stuff to kind of line this thing so it's not just a bunch of buildings right on the road. I might be overdoing it with things like that. It might not be necessary to put all of those details in here, but I like doing the detailing, man. I really do. In saying that, I would like to try and, you know, not overdo it today. I feel like we've done so much detailing lately. Now, the unreliable mail service problem is probably going to be quite a consistent and persistent thing until the trucks get out there and do their thing. So we have 6 out of 20 post vans out there collecting. We've got this one right here. Where exactly are you at the moment? There you are. Okay. So you're in the new industrial space, which is totally fine. And you've collected pretty much everything you can collect. So you're heading back to the post office, which is great. In fact, oh my God, there goes the 20 vans. All right. Something tells me that, oh, there's a truck there as well. Okay. Yeah, something tells me that what's probably going on there is, the game's kind of caught up and realized what's going on. So hopefully, yeah, unreliable mail service is now down to -12 instead of -13. It's now -11. So that is hopefully going to make people that little bit happier. And you know what? I think I am going to go in here with the post van upgrade, and I think I am going to get the mail storage extension as well. And I think it's going to go right on the road there because I can have some fun with this fence. And that's probably about as big as this thing is going to need to be. I don't really want to expand it any further. We now have 30 trucks, which is probably going to be more than enough. And this is hopefully going to sort us out in terms of that mail service, which is down to -3, which is absolutely fantastic. So we might see happiness increase even further, which would be incredible. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to go in here and see, can I grab that fence? No. All right. I want to just extend a little bit of a fence down here just to sort of enclose this a little bit. And I don't really know what fence I'm looking for. I think it's this one. Is it that? It is. No, it's not that one. Okay, well, this is going to be an absolute pain to find the right one. It maybe doesn't matter if I use the exact right one. Is that it? That's it. Okay. It's not the right color. And I know there's a mod that will fix that particular issue. I can't remember the name of it. Someone did. Oh, that's the color I'm looking for. Someone did post a comment recently that was like, hey, the mod you're looking for is this one and it's great and you should definitely get it. And I read that comment and I'm not going to lie. It wasn't that I wasn't paying attention. I just think I was doing about 20 other things at the time and I haven't noted it down. So I'm going to have to go and look and see if I can find that comment that mentions the one mod I'm looking for that'll let me, you know, have the same color fence around this entire thing. Now, on this side, it's a totally different type of fence, which is just great. And this thing is so loud, man. So it's another really loud asset in City Skylines because of course it is. You know what? Let's just maybe just use the industrial fence right there. I think that's maybe what we go for just because it's going to be easier. Or we could use, I think it's this one, right? Yeah, it is that one. Okay, we're just going to use the industrial fence because that's going to be so much easier. And with the fences around this thing, what I'd like to do is just come in here and start zoning some commercial buildings. So we have a little bit of a gap here, which is totally fine. This space, though, I think is going to be built out to be nice and commercial. I'm pretty sure we can get away with that. So we'll just do something like this and get a nice little commercial building in there. Over this way, I would like to do something like this. I want to get a couple little commercial buildings in there as well. We'll go for a little 3x3 right here, and we will bring this entire space over just like that as well, giving us a bunch of commercial zoning in here, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, what I think I'm going to do is maybe just put a little pedestrian path going around this entire thing. I don't think it's necessary, I'll be honest. I don't really think we urgently need to do this, and I don't know how many people would actually use this path, but my thinking is that technically you could go from here to like down here, which might be a useful little route for people to take. We could have a little something that cuts across here as well, so you can get over to this path. So we'll connect you guys together like that. We'll bring it over this way as well. And that gives us some zoning down here, which is what I was looking for. And then these guys, we can do exactly the same thing. We'll bring this right up here. That's going to be pretty good. That gives us milestone 9 as well, which is something I want to dabble with a little bit today. I want to have a look at my milestones. And I think that's probably that is probably about all we need to do. We'll do some zoning in here just to fill up that space as well, because I think that'll be a great idea. And then obviously I'm just going to go in here with trees and bushes and surfaces the way I always do. It's me, so of course I'm going to detail all of this, but I would kind of like to look in here and see what we don't have yet. We don't have large roads, which is kind of interesting. I don't really know that we need them, so I'm going to skip that. Underground parking. I have seen a couple of comments mentioning that I'm probably going to need this sooner than later, but I'll be honest, I like street level parking. I like seeing it, so I'm not super worried about it. I think we'll skip over that for now. The coal power plant is huge and might be needed at some point, but I'm slightly tempted to push towards like geothermal since it's kind of a cleaner thing. So let's get the emergency battery station, which seems like a good shout. I don't know that I want hydroelectric right now. I do want geothermal and I do want solar, just as a couple of options for power a little bit later on. Water treatment is something I would like to get my hands on because I do want to stop dumping water into the Willamette River. And then the advanced water pumping station, I don't know that we need that just yet either. When it comes to medicine, I think we're doing all right. Recycling, the incinerator plant produces electricity from the heat, produces high amounts of ground pollution as well as some air and noise pollution. You know what? Let's not go too crazy here. Let's not go down the line and buy a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to use right now. Let's maybe focus in on stuff that's actually going to get some use for the time being. So I think, given that I've just picked up these power options, we might want to look into some of that, and I think we want to look into water treatment as well. But before we do that, I kind of want to make this space look a little bit better. So very quickly, and I do mean quickly, as quickly as I can. We are making 26,000. Oh my God. Okay, people are a lot happier now. That's amazing. All right, what I'd like to do really quickly is I'd like to go in here with some surfaces, and I want to make this place look kind of interesting. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go around here with this nice manicured grass because I think that's a fantastic idea to detail this little space. And then for the rest of it, it probably doesn't matter. Let's be honest, it probably doesn't. And there we go. Something relatively simple for our little post office corner thing. We got some poplar trees along this road in here. We got some oak trees, some hickory trees, birch trees, and a few little apple trees in the back as well. And if you're wondering why you can't see my mouse cursor, that's actually part of the most recent City Skylines 2 update. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why. I can still do this, by the way. So the mouse cursor is still like there. I'm moving around by moving my mouse, but I don't know what I'm pointing at with my cursor now, which is a really, really weird choice. That's kind of up there with the decision a while back to remove this little counter where you can see how much money you're making. It boggles the mind is what it does. I don't understand that choice, but it's fine. It's okay. I don't understand it, but it's whatever. Let's just get some offices in here and start filling out this space as best we possibly can. Let's go for, I don't know. Oh, that's not the button I'm looking for. Can I get like a nice big office in there? No. All right, you know what? Let's do this and then do the rest of this as commercial. Can I get like a little commercial building in there? Some commercial buildings in there. We'll do a little commercial something in here, and we'll do a little office right here since we have demand for all of that, which is fantastic. And then as we usually do, we're going to go along this road down here and just place in an oak tree and an oak tree and an oak tree. We'll do one more and a bunch of hickory trees and a few birch trees and a few shrubs. And it just gives us the same look that we have going the entire way down that regional road. It's also kind of great that we have got some offices coming in here. Makes me very, very happy to see this area developing. And I think, honestly, this has, despite the fact that I really wasn't too sure about this space in that last episode, I actually really love how this has turned out. I'm also really loving the trees. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I know I'm slightly overdoing it with them here and there, but I love it. I explained it in the last episode. I don't want to repeat myself too much because I mean, look, Man, I feel sorry for anyone that's been watching this channel for a good few years, because you've heard me tell the same stories about 20 times. But you know, I just love it. I really do. I love just this kind of like sort of overgrown vibe, and it looks really like you get down here and it's pretty cool. Well, oh, that is a little bit much. You know what? I'm standing by it. Anyway, let's take a look at this water treatment plant facility, because I do think that's something we should get our hands on, and it is $400,000, which is, it's a lot, but we're making almost $30,000 right now, so I think we can get away with this. And I think what we're gonna do, plain and simple, is it's just gonna live out here, although it is overlapping with a surface, so anarchy is gonna have to be the go-to with this. I don't know exactly where I wanna place this thing, so it's just gonna be right there for now. And I just want to take a look at it and see what we can do. So we have the advanced filtering system, which increases the sewage purification rate, resulting in more sewage being turned back into fresh water. And we have the extra processing units as well, which are absolutely huge, but probably very important to have. So I think what we can do here is maybe have a little bit of fun and maybe get a little bit creative with this. So let me move this building down to here for now, which messes with my trees, but that's okay. And let me start looking at some road options. Now, in doing this, I'm ever so slightly going to mess with this road right here, which isn't great, but I'm not super worried about that. I think what I'd like to do is just pick sort of a random spot, turn off my guidelines. First off, we'll go with let's see, actually, we're going to go with this spot right here. We're going to use this intersection, and there is method to my madness, I promise, but I'm going to go right there, and I'm going to put you just over, oh wait, no, that's probably not where I wanted it. Actually, objectively, that is not where I wanted it. I want it here. There is method to my supposed madness here. So bring you out this way. This all connects together just fine. And then this guy is going to be moved and put right on that corner. So right about there is where the water treatment plant's going to go. I think we can probably afford the upkeep for the advanced filtering system, which is its own building. Oh, I didn't realize that. It is also huge. That's deeply concerning, but sure, that's fine. The extra processing thing, I was kind of thinking of putting it down here on this road was my thought process. But my other thought process was turn this into a bridge and bring this water through into this space, because I think that could look kind of cool. So what's the distance on this? 104. Our midpoint is that tile in the middle. Oh, I'm gonna have to shuffle all of this over by one. And I suppose while I'm here, I should probably get rid of these trees as well, since I'm gonna have to do a little bit of landscaping around here to make this place look the way I want it to. So we'll take all of those out. And then now I should have a midpoint on this, which I absolutely do. It's right here. I suppose what I'm thinking is, do I want to do a little curve for this, or do I want to just keep things relatively simple? And I think I want to do a little curve. So like 24 by 24 might honestly look all right. 32 by 32 might look a little bit better. So same thing on this side. We'll do 32 by 32. We'll just have these connect in the middle right about there. And that seems all right. And then this guy, this road needs turned into a bridge, which is going to be hopefully doable. I might have to just sort of adjust my snapping a little bit, but that's a bridge, which means now I should be able to go in here with some terraforming, and I should be able to level all of this terrain with a slightly smaller brush, just a wee bit smaller, just a little something like this. And then obviously turn these roads into roads with key walls, and that's just a little extension of the water thing that we have going on there. This is so unnecessary, and honestly, I might make it a little bit smaller, but I think it's a cool detail. I think it's interesting. I think it's a bit weird, but I'm kind of here for it. I really am. It's just different, you know? Gives me something kind of dedicated for my water treatment, and I think it looks neat. I do. I think it looks neat. So yeah, this is our water treatment area, I guess. And I suppose while I'm here, this surface that we're looking at, it's that entire, oh God, it goes all the way down there. Ooh. Okay, you know what? Let me add a node to it right there, and let me add a node to it right underneath my road, and let me just bring this surface underneath my water. I feel like I might as well. If it's going to be there, it needs to be underneath the water consistently. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. It's a very, very weird looking space, but I am okay with that. And then when it comes to water treatment, we do have the advanced filtering system, which could go on this side, I suppose. We've also got the extra processing, which is increased processing capacity for the facility. I don't know, we don't really need either of them, let's be honest, but it's probably not the worst thing in the world to kind of get this thing built up and situated with a bit of future proofing that little bit sooner than later. Also, can I have this thing not, this has to snap to the building. That's very, very strange that this has to snap. I guess because it's a different type of upgrade where this can just go anywhere. And honestly, I'd be tempted to put this on the other side just to sort of, you know, that looks, when I put it over there, it makes the shape a little bit more, you know, we'll put it over here. It's gonna live over here. it's gonna stay there just to be safe about the shape that we're dealing with there. And then this thing, I would love to put it back there. I would love to maybe put it there or just there. I think just there is fine. Although I will say, I think going in here and taking out a whole bunch of these fences is actually going to be a really solid idea, because that's so loud as well. As it stands right now, this whole thing feels so separate from each other. Like all these different parts of the building are completely separated from each other. I think it would kind of make sense to go through and we'll just put a single fence around the entire facility. We can connect some of the surfaces together. We can just make this place look a little bit more like an actual single facility rather than kind of what's going on right now, which is, again, everything sort of looking separated and apart from each other. I want it to look a certain way. I also kind of feel like the fence that was there could probably continue to be there, but now that it's gone, that's ever so slightly messed that up. Same with down here. We did have a, well, you know what? No, I'm putting my own fences in here. It'll be, well, I say I'm putting my own fences in here. I say I'm doing that. There's a solid chance I won't, because there's a solid chance that all my fences are going to be different styles of fence, but I'll manage. All right, so I suppose first things first, we want to deal with the surfaces. Now, I've turned the building off because it's really loud when I zoom into it, and I really don't feel like listening to that. So that's why the building is currently disabled. Now, what I'd like to do here is just add some nodes to this area and start bringing this down so it meets the road. We have this little road going through here, and we have all of this over here as well. I think what we can do is start looking at continuing some little sections of this up to meet these other surfaces. So you can go up to there, you can come in like this, you can go to that corner, and I need this to sort of line up like so, and this guy is going to line up like so. And that just gives us that little space that you could theoretically walk through there, and I'm sort of okay with that. I'm kind of tempted though to extend this out to here so that I can, if I can get a little node added in there, that would be great. I think what we'll do instead is this, and oh, it's getting messy. That's not what I want. I just want the one node, that one. Get rid of you and bring you up to about there as well. It just looks like a little path that kind of extends up that way, and I'm sort of okay with that as well. So that just slightly ties those together, and I'm kind of okay with that. I'm even sort of tempted to push this over this way a little bit. Let me just turn off all my snapping options for a second, or not, I guess. We'll turn all of those back on because I kind of need to be able to snap to this. Basically, this guy could go to here, so it kind of continues that line, and then this guy can go to there, and I think filling in that space is probably going to be better. Yeah, I think that's a little bit neater, and then this can all be, you know, grass, basically. So essentially, I want to go in here with regular old grass the entire way around these surfaces. So up to this corner, across to the gravel, down to here, across to here, down here, and back to the start, and that gives us a bit of grass, which is going to be separate from the brown terrain that we have so far. So that's good. And same thing in here. We're going to do a little bit of grass just to bring this all to life a little bit. Probably doesn't make sense. I'll be honest. It really probably doesn't make any sense to do all this grass, but I'm okay with that. I can make it work. Okay, so this has come together, more or less. It's maybe a little bit cleaner at the moment than it needs to be, but I had a bit of fun putting some fences around this perimeter. We've got some surfaces down here tying it all together, and we've got a bunch of paths that kind of link everything together as well. I've also left some spots open because I might have some fun with the invisible pedestrian paths, and a little something that I picked up from another channel from a creator called Mike Builds, who I think we've mentioned before in the first series we did on the game, is using this right here, which is a dog park pole. I'm using it as sort of bollards. And because I don't have that mod that keeps the kind of same prop the entire way across, they're all different colors, but I saw this prop. He used it as a thing on a German highway that he was building. It was a really, really cool video. I'll try to remember to link it in the video description, but I'm just using it as like a bollard around here. And I think it looks okay. I think it sort of does the job. So I'm not really too worried about using it along there. What I would like to do though, is just have a little bit of fun here and see if we can get anybody to kind of walk around this space. Now, I'm not super worried about just random people walking around here. I don't really think it's the end of the world. If anything, I'd kind of like to see people walking around here, but I don't really think it's going to happen because there's really no reason for Sims to come out here, but I'd like to just see if we can get some people to kind of walk out here. So I'm going to sort of let them like walk across here. Actually, there's not really any way for them to walk through there, is there? That's just a big tank. Okay. So yeah, they'll not walk out here, but they could walk down this way. They can walk around there, and then we could have them sort of come down over here if they really wanted to. Maybe we'll just use a continuous curve for all of this. Maybe they go from like here and sort of over that way and around and up to this little path. And you know, this might end up being the quickest way to go somewhere. Not really too sure where that somewhere is going to be, but I'm sure there'll be a reason enough for my Sims to come out this way. They might walk from here to over there. I don't really know, but I think that's about all I want to do in terms of the intricate details of this thing. At this point, I would kind of like to just go in here and place down a few trees here and there just to sort of plant it into the landscape a little bit. So we'll do a few of the larger oak trees the way we always do. Maybe one in that corner as well. Maybe we'll skip that corner and put one here instead. And then we'll go in with some hickory trees, again, as we usually do, just to sort of plant this thing into the landscape that little bit further. And then just a few, I think birch trees will kind of be the bulk of what we use to surround this thing, since they're a little bit smaller and probably look a little bit better around here. And I don't want to go, well, maybe I do want to go a little bit crazy with this just to sort of surround it. I think that looks all right, just for the edges of the place. Maybe one there, and maybe one sort of big oak tree right here, just for that space. Maybe two of them. I think two of them is pretty good. I think that looks all right. And then for the front of this thing, we do have some bushes in here. I'd kind of like to go in and get rid of those, because I think I can do my own thing in there. And in this case, my own thing is maybe going to be some flowers. That might be the idea here. Let's go for a little bit of a smaller gap on this. So we'll go for a meter distance between them. That's not going to be enough. What if we did 2 meters? I think 2 meters as distance on this might be what I'm looking for. Maybe 2.2, maybe 2.5. I think 2.5 is going to be the sweet spot. And I want to actually maybe go in here and take out those little posts. But my thinking is put a row of these guys over, going to about, say, there. And we'll do the same thing on this side as well. So we'll go to about, say, there. We'll do the same thing over here as well. And then in between all of those, we can maybe do the yellow ones. Or is that going to be a little bit much? That looks a little bit much. It's kind of, it's kind of got a Mr. Blobby vibe about it. And if you don't know, if your life hasn't been blessed with the knowledge of who or what Mr. Blobby is, I'm happy for you. That's, if you grew up in the UK when I did, you know, if you grew up in the 90s and very early 2000s, you're very familiar with Mr. Blobby potentially. So yeah, I think this looks okay. I think the sort of the blue, green, and pink thing going on there looks all right. And then maybe over this way, maybe we do go in with just a few poplar trees. I do love me a good poplar tree. And I think something like 3 of them right there seems like a pretty good shout. So 3 little poplar trees. I think in here we can maybe do 2 of them. So 2 poplar trees right there. And I think 2 poplar trees just over here as well will be a great little shout. In this space, I think we can bring that spacing down to about 10 meters. And can we get 3 of them? We cannot. What if I go down to 8 meters? I think 3 poplar trees right there seems like a pretty good shout. And I think 3 of them across here would be a pretty good call as well. So 7-meter distance on these ones. A little something like this seems pretty good. And then maybe kind of the same thing in here. Back to 10-meter spacing. We'll do a bunch of poplar trees. You know what? Back down to 7. Maybe even 6. And we'll get 5 of them across there. They are going to take some time to grow, but that's all right. We'll get maybe 3 of them in here. I think that's about all I'm really looking for. I don't want to just cover the entire facility in trees, which is what I kind of run the risk of doing every time I touch every time I touch trees in City Skylines. There's kind of a chance that I'm just going to absolutely swarm a place with them. And there we go. This place is back up and running. I think it looks pretty solid. And so now I guess what we need to do is turn our attention to some potential power options. Now we have the emergency battery station, which is a set of huge battery banks that store electricity that can be used to negate the problems caused by blackouts or energy consumption spikes. This thing, I don't know that we're necessarily going to need. Now, what I'm thinking is that something like a geothermal plant could be huge, apparently, is what a geothermal plant is. I don't know why I expected any different. It kind of makes sense. Solar plant is also quite large. Definitely quite large. So I don't know that we're going to be building that anytime soon. What I might do is actually take some feedback that I saw in the comments on one of the previous episodes, and at the very least just move the coal power plant out to the industrial space. And I think that probably makes the most sense. Now, the reason I saw given for doing this also kind of made sense based on how I tend to look at City Skylines, which is that moving it out here means that it's not necessarily the first thing that people see coming in from the region. Now, that's going to have to apply to the landfill as well. And I'm going to pause while I do this because it's going to be slightly problematic if I don't. But that is going to have to apply to the landfill as well. We're going to want to look at moving that around. And I've also just realized, interesting. I don't remember upgrading all of these roads to have the little key walls on there. Can I just get rid of that? Can I just turn you back into like normal road sections? Which is going to give me zoning on them again, which is slightly unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. Does this thing have any upgrades? It does not. It's the small power plant, so that checks out. It does have a fence around it, which is pretty solid. It's got some trees in front of it, which is pretty good. So in terms of making this thing sort of fit into the space, I think realistically the best thing I could probably do is maybe bring a little section of road out of over here one way or another, kind of bring it around, put some buildings next to it. I don't really know. I'm not really too worried about making this thing fit, I suppose. I mean, it fits. It's an industrial looking thing, so it's probably all right. Oh, that reminds me. In the same note of seeing people talking about moving the power plants, I also saw a suggestion. Are those power lines still there? They are. I might have used the wrong bulldozer for this. In fact, I'm quite confident in saying that I absolutely did. So get rid of you and get rid of you. There we go. That's better. And you know what? Get rid of that road as well. We don't need it anymore. And also the stuff underground. We don't need those anymore either. Okay, so I saw a comment on the topic of moving things around. I saw someone suggest that we actually extend this road straight through and bridge it over as a direct connection to the industrial space so that traffic doesn't have to go through this area to get to my industrial district. And I think that's a fantastic idea. I'm not going to do it today because I need to figure out exactly how I'm going to do it, but I did see that comment. I've said it before. I see all of them. I do. I really do. I'm reading everything at the minute, and I'm going to be reading them as they go out while I'm on vacation as well, because I would say I won't have much else to do. I've got a lot to do, and I plan to do a lot of things, but you know, there will occasionally be nights where there's not much to do. So I'll sit and read YouTube comments, most likely, which I don't know if I want to brag about that. That almost sounds kind of, I'm spending money to go on vacation and relax, and I'm going to spend a chunk of that time reading YouTube comments. I don't think that's the flex I thought it was originally. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do here is, well, do I want to run these power lines? I mean, can I use anarchy to run these out here? No, it is going to exceed city limits. Do I care about that? Because there's a part of me that wants to just run these power lines right to the edge of the map here and just make it okay. I think I'm just gonna, to be totally honest, I think I'm kind of just gonna do that. So let me run the power lines to right about here. And then these are gonna run pretty much parallel to this road right here, if I can get them to, which I've just realized I could do something like that. That's interesting. I want them to run as parallel to this road as I can get them, which is roughly going to be, I want to say there. I think that's not quite perfect, but it'll be fine. And then, yeah, I'm just going to use anarchy to run these across the map. It's a little silly, but it's the least egregious thing I've done in a while. So it's going to be fine. Can I get this span to not look ridiculous? I guess I can if I use a slightly larger pylon. So I'll tell you what, we'll do exactly that. We'll take you out of there. We'll grab you and we'll go to a larger pylon here and a larger pylon right about there just to get over the water. And we'll go back down to the smaller pylons just to continue it straight across the map. And there we go. We have a huge power line that runs from our power station to the edge of the map. This guy is up and running and doing its thing, which is good. And that's probably only going to serve to bring more traffic to this side of the map. But you know what? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be totally fine, I'm sure. I think at this point, though, the last little thing I'd like to do with this space is just extend some surfaces, which is maybe silly. It's a power plant after all, but I want to bring this grass surface around the outside of this just for a little bit more detailing. So bring it up to there and bring you up to about there. These guys are going to have to go into that corner, which somehow I'm going to have to line up really nicely. So you, I think 135 is the angle I'm going to be looking for here. So that's 138. So I want to go down to 135 there. And that looks fine. And then this needs to go up to this corner as well. And I'm looking for 135 down there, but a 90-degree angle up here. So 135, that looks all right. Sort of. This looks a little bit thin. I'm not going to lie. Maybe a little thin, but I think it'll be all right. There we go. We've got our small coal power plant moved. We've got it surrounded with some more industry. We got some trees around it, which is probably a bit silly, but I really don't have much else I could have put in here. Well, you know, I say that. I say I couldn't have put much else in here. We do have industrial props that I should probably play with. So you know what? I really don't want to get rid of the power plant itself, but I would. I just want to experiment a little bit here. So a very small brush. I want to take out these trees up to about there. Take out you as well. And I want to just see if I can have some fun with some industrial props right here. So we want to go and apparently somehow get these guys. And then we have stuff like this that we can play around with. We have stuff like this that we can play around with. And honestly, stuff like this might be the better shout to put alongside this thing. So can I get this to line up maybe that way around? Although that looks like it's got like some chutes there for trucks to come in. So maybe this, I mean, I don't know what this would be used for in this space, but I think it's probably a good use of the space. We also have room for trucks right there. So don't know what way around this would go. I really don't, but it's kind of cool looking. So I think just because it's kind of cool looking, it's going to live right up here, like right on that corner, I guess, which sort of overlaps with the fence, but I can probably use move it to sort of shuffle that a little bit, right? Just move it that way ever so slightly. Yeah. And then trucks can pull into this yard, and that's how they can load up and whatever it is they got. And then what I can do, I guess, is adjust this surface so that it looks like trucks can pull in there. As for the rest of it, we have this place, which also looks kind of neat. So I think it's going to live right next to this guy just because it's another industrial looking facility thing. And it's going to go, I want to say right about there. And I think that looks pretty cool. So what I can do now is go back into my surfaces, and I just need to add a little point right there. I need to add a little point right, say there and there. And then somehow adjust all of this in a way that's going to make sense. And I'm not 100% sure what that way is just yet, but we'll figure it out together is what we're going to do. We'll bring this to here. That looks like it'll be okay. This side, I think similar story. We'll put a node here and run this guy up. Maybe bring that node over just ever so slightly and run it up to there. And we'll add a node just in here. And that looks all right. I mean, there is obviously grass in the garage there, but that's fine. I'm pretty sure these different surfaces overlap, so we'll see what we can do. We've got different ground textures we can play with. Let's go with this one. It's a nice cracked kind of texture. We'll see if it's any good for what I want to do here, and bring it just down to here and across. Does that look all right? It kind of does. Although I would like to move the grass. Oh, that's not what I want. I want to move the grass on the inside here. In fact, you know what? I'm probably never going to look at it from this angle, so we'll not worry about it. Probably never going to be this intent on detailing this space ever again. So let's do that. And that looks all right. I think I can work with that. I think we will probably want to put some props in here. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll use some of these crates to kind of block up this this door here, so you kind of can't see the grass on the inside. That way it's a little bit more, I don't know, believable. So we'll use some of those. We'll use some barrels as well. Use a slightly smaller stack of barrels for a bit more color in there. And that looks all right to me. Maybe another little stack of them just here. Yeah, I'm kind of okay with that. And then over this way, I don't know, we'll do another set of crates, slightly smaller crate next to them, maybe some wooden barrels for whatever reason. And is there anything else I want to play with in here? We do have some wrecked cars and things like that. I don't really think those are gonna really fit the vibe of what I'm going for here. I think honestly this is probably fine. A couple of trees on either side of this whole thing, and I think it's pretty much good to go. I think a little hickory right there, and then same thing over here. We'll do just a couple of little birch trees, something like that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's pretty solid. That's pretty good. Maybe as a final little touch, just a little bit of like some stain decals or something. It's like a nice large sort of stain decal coming off the road for whatever reason, just to make it a little bit more grimy and kind of, you know, hide the fact that it's not perfectly on the road there. I think that looks great, actually. Maybe some small kind of grime to this as well. And then over this way, a slightly larger kind of grimy texture, if I can get it to work, which I think that's fine. It doesn't blend perfectly here, but we can fix that. We can just do this guy or the smaller one. I think the smaller one's probably the coal. It still doesn't blend perfectly, but I'm all right with that. We'll just get a small little one of these guys in here like this, and maybe one on this side as well, so it's kind of like leaking out onto the road and the sidewalk. It's just a really, really grimy area, and I'm absolutely on board with that. Just a little bit of storytelling, you know, maybe this place is just a little older, not looked after all that much, not cleaned up all that much. I think that looks good. Okay, so now I consider this power plant to be done. You might notice that there's a bit of detail going on with it. That's because I spent more time than I care to admit going through here and just adding a bunch of stain decals and grime decals just across the entire thing because I figured it kind of made sense. And honestly, I love how this game looks. I really do. Like when you get down in here, there's really great amounts of detail on everything. Like the road textures are really good. Like they don't look amazing from here, but when you get down there with like first person or whatever, it looks really good. A lot of the buildings, especially industrial buildings, they're really, really clean. And just adding a little bit of grime like this just really makes them, I don't know, makes them pop a little bit. But regardless, we're still doing pretty well. We have our power plant over here. We have our water treatment plant over here. We have our little post office in here. We're making tons of money. Everyone is relatively happy. There is, unfortunately, some high noise pollution, and there is an unreliable healthcare coverage. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to go in, and first off, I would like to get our garbage management back up to 100%. Now that did take an extra $5,000 out of our hourly earnings, but that's okay. Everything should be back at 100% across the board, which is great. And then I want to take a look at our healthcare coverage and see where the problem is. So healthcare availability, it's getting down there a little bit. And I suppose it makes sense, actually. We do just have the one clinic and it is just down here. So it might not be a bad idea. I don't think we'll do it today, but I think in the next episode, we're going to want to look at getting another healthcare facility. Now, I don't think it's going to be quite to the extent of detailing. I mean, this isn't super detailed, but you know what I mean. I think it's going to be a small clinic that we'll put out here, like a little suburban space. We'll probably expand the suburbs as well because we have demand for everything. I might look at filling in this space as well, but I think I like what we've done here today. We got our post office. We've improved our water situation. We've moved our power plant away from down here. The next thing we probably want to do is get rid of the landfill. That's kind of my next goal. So maybe it would have made sense to get our hands on a little something. It might have made sense to get the incinerator plant, which it's only 2 development points. So I think we'll grab it. And I don't remember how large the incinerator plant is. That's the industrial waste product. That's 6.3 million for this thing. A specialized facility for collecting and handling. Okay, we don't need that. The incineration plant is $1 million. It would be our most expensive building thus far. But I think, it has 50 garbage trucks versus 20 at the landfill. It is almost 10 times as expensive to run, which is concerning. But I want to say that this might be the better shout. It's over 10 times the price of the landfill, but it would fit pretty well in this space here if I got this tile over this way. And I think that might be what we do, is we kind of put it into this spot and have this just continue to be a huge sort of industrial space at the edge of the city. I think that might be the play. Now, in saying that, I do really want to get these tiles out here, because I really want to start pushing this road through to that other regional road. I might even try and shuffle it over a little bit so it kind of pushes between these fields, so we're not taking too much away from those. But again, that's something we can deal with in the next episode, because that is going to do us for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure, as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.